Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to see a crowd here tonight. Welcome to our 212th meeting. I'm pleased to announce a new membership campaign and a membership reward program. Starting today, if you refer a member to DPI-SIG and they join, when they sign up and pay their dues, if they show you as a reference referring them, you'll receive a $20 Visa gift card. And that starts, as many members as you refer, we've got enough cards. So, and the card and the member will be introduced at our next meeting. So everybody take advantage of that. I left some business cards on the table. There's also another pile on the free table, so if you pass those out, maybe you'll get a lot of people to join. We're looking for several volunteers for some vital positions. As you know, the club depends on volunteers. Everything runs with volunteers. So if you can help, let us know, or if you think you could help another volunteer to back up, that would be great. If you get an opportunity, go down to the Central Avenue Library. Our art show is down there. It runs till the end of the month, and we've had a lot of very, very nice comments on the art show. There'll be a 20-minute refreshment break after Bob Kennedy's interview, and there'll be 6 door prizes drawn. And Malin has a video for us, and I'm going to get the lights turned down. Thank you, Jim. I think we can maybe book ourselves at some restaurants or something.
Didn't know you had a green nose.
Yeah, I noticed that. Okay, Marcel Samples, we'll let you as our MC take over.
Do we have any visitors tonight? Anybody a visitor? How about a new member? Any new members tonight? No?
A lot of old ones.
All right, a lot of regular members. Okay, we're going to start with Jim Robillard.
Yeah, I'll do that.
No, we aren't. You go do it.
That's maybe not true anyway.
Yeah. What the heck?
Where to find us on YouTube? Nowhere.
No, we can't get there.
So, we've been working to get YouTube Live out for the folks that can't get here. It's not working yet tonight. Jim's still working on it, so hang loose. We may get there. If you want to find out where it is, you're not here, and I do invite you to come. Go to YouTube. You'll find DPI-SIG Naples Digital Photography Club. And we've sent you links on it so you can know where to go look for it. The general meeting will be generally shown there ahead of time, well ahead of time, so you'll know when it is and where it is and so forth. That's it.
All right, next up, Malin Stacy.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, why'd you sit down?
Yeah, why'd he sit down?
Yeah.
So what's up with the website? Have any of you looked at the website in the last month? Yeah, a bunch of you have. That's good. Great. Thanks for doing that. I'm getting near the end of what I'm going to be working on with it. It's mostly together at this point for, I think, what I wanted to accomplish. And if you've got other things that you think it needs, please let me know. So what I've done is there's a login button. I've simplified the navigation. That menu that you used to see when you logged in, it's gone. No longer there. Zoom info's on the calendar, classified ads, and magazine we'll speak about. So simplified navigation, we've simplified all the navigation access. It's all across the top on the main homepage now. If you log in, the login button's in the upper right. If you log in, you'll see maybe more menu items on the bottom. If you're an administrator for some function in the club, you'll see an admin link there. Otherwise, you won't see it. And at the bottom of the home page, you will find all the things that were in the menu, the member resources. The ones that require you to log in, you can just click on the button, it will just take you to the login page, and then on to whatever it is you were going to do. So it's fairly straightforward and simple. The calendar now has all the events for the year on it. And if you look at things that are Zoom meetings, like the one you see for yesterday or 2 days ago, the Luminar Users Group meeting. If it's within 3 days of that meeting and you log in, I know that's a lot of work, but if you can do that within 3 days of the meeting, you will get the Zoom information right on the calendar. So you can just click on the link right there. It should open Zoom for you and get you in. You still need to get the DPI-SIG password, but you don't have to go searching through your email anymore to find these Zoom links. They should be right there in a calendar. We now have photography classified ads online. This is the current listing as of a day or two ago. Sonny's been busy getting things up there. These things are all available for sale, except for one that I put in there, which is a sample. Looks like an owl's nest. Yeah, you caught that one, huh? Y'all can create classified ads in here for photography gear, and I invite you to do so. You just need to send me a note so I can set you up with a login for the page. And we invite you to do that. Go take a look at it. We'll be sending out announcements as new things appear on the site, so we'll see how useful it is and whether people actually sell anything. You sold anything yet, Sonny?
No.
Haven't sold anything yet. Well, it's been a secret.
You can't put down free, you have to put down a penny.
Yeah, you have to put down a number, like a penny.
We had some members that wanted to give away some stuff, and they can use this classified ad section for that.
I think there's a plug-in so they can make it free, but it costs us money. We're also looking at an auction site out there, and we don't quite have that working yet. It's close, but keep your eyes out for that. The magazine. As you know, the board decided not to continue the magazine. We did not get the volunteer support to make it work. Partly it's that a good magazine needs proper layout. And people that know how to run proper layout, like Jim, are few and far between. So we have converted what we have, the last two articles that were going to go into the magazine, we've converted them to a blog style format, and you can see them here. There is a link on the home page. It's very small right now, and I will make that more visible for these two articles at least. But we invite you, first of all, to let us know how interested you are in having our members write stuff about photography that's useful to you. I know it has been in the past. The magazine has been popular. And in terms of a blog, this is Bob's article as a blog. You get the text and the pictures, and it's quite readable. It's not quite as well formatted as a magazine page would be, but it's out there on a website, so you can have access to it. So let me know what you think about that. That's where we're at. We need an editor. We need somebody who can proof articles and post them. We need somebody who can invite people to write articles, which has been kind of falling off here lately. So that's some of the volunteers we need. While I'm up here, speaking of volunteers, I have a list. So we need a webmaster who knows WordPress or who would like to learn WordPress. WordPress is the formatting software that we use on the website. It's not incredibly difficult. It's mostly like running Word in terms of formatting things, dropping pictures in, and I'll be glad to work with somebody that wants to learn how to do that, so let me know. I told you about the magazine. These are mostly jobs that I've been doing. We need a competition director. How many of you are involved in competitions? How many of you put pictures in for competitions? They raise their, you notice how low they raise their hands when I ask that question? So, come on, I need help to make all this work. We have plenty of judges, the judging all set for the rest of the year. I just need somebody to make sure we get the promotions out and take care of the entries when they come in and things like that. We would like to have a creative workshop to replace women's workshop. The same sort of creativity that Christine did with that. If you feel inspired to get involved, let us know. We have a lot of interest in a smartphone group. How many of you have smartphones? I'll bet we get bigger, more hands on that one, yeah. There is something to smartphone photography besides picking the phone up and pointing it at somebody, and there's some things to learn there. So we would like to do that. And also, I believe F3C is interested in doing that too. So that's what's up with the website and what we need for volunteers from my point of view. If you want to help, let me know. Come on down. Back to you.
All right, back to me. Larry Richardson, you are next up.
What's he next up with?
Adjust the light so they can see that.
You have a clicker for me?
See, senor.
All righty. I apologize for all the wildlife leaving South Florida. For 25 years, I was bringing them in, and now they left. So, you know, our first, well, we're going to go to Bird Rookery Swamp. Turned out that sucked. And then we're going to go to Marsh Trail, and that sucked even worse. And one of our members did go there. He didn't get the third memo that said we're going to go to Harn's Marsh. We ended up going to Harn's Marsh. That's what this is all about. I'm going to try to go here fast. But Bill Spooner went south, and he went to Harn's Marsh. So I think that's kind of good because how many birds do you need to shoot or whatever you want to shoot at Harn's Marsh? They actually have a crocodile down there. So he got a little blue heron. What was that before? A little green, a little blue, mangroves. And by the way, a couple of us volunteered to work with the biologist that actually took my place when I used to work there. We're going to cut down all those trees right in front of the tower. So hopefully this time next year, the visibility will be great.
At the Marsh Trail.
At the Marsh Trail, yeah, but yeah, sorry. And we're still at Marsh Trail, swallowtail kites, and you'll see some more at Harn's Marsh, and tricolored heron, and very good, Bill. And this is not Bill, Ed Cohen. We've now made it to Harn's Marsh. Those are called colts. I didn't know that. I know like everything about animals. I didn't know about colts. They're little birds, okay? And have you ever heard a sandhill crane call? It's wonderful. You know, they mate for life, and they get out, they do kind of a nuptial thing. He gives her a rock, she yells at him. It's kind of like real life. And then she jumps over the canal. My days of jump under, long gone. So,
Two-headed bird.
Very good. I'm hoping Ed hears that. Ed couldn't be here tonight. But they're just fantastic birds. If you want to know about maternal care, parental care, and you want to learn something and apply it to your own lives, seriously, watch sandhill cranes. They're amazing. And, you know, first time over the canal, they kind of kick them, go. Art David, thank you for having a different vision than most everybody else in this, this program. So Art gets out there. He doesn't want anything to do with sandhill cranes. The moon is just, which is good. I appreciate that. Full moon's just dropping past the trees, and he gets some great stuff.
19 viewers.
It's great. We need to see more of this stuff. Well, we'll learn more about it when we talk to Bob Kenedi. Cattails, from my perspective, need to burn the crap out of it. Seriously, it needs to be burned so there'll be more sandhill cranes and more ducks and stuff like that. But anyway, Art, great job. Thanks for seeing something different.
Did you get the video?
And then Chuck Dreyer, he wanted to do just birds in flight. That's primarily what he shot, and that's all that he sent me. These are the black-bellied whistling ducks. I hate to say it, I've never seen a fulvous tree duck, which is our native tree duck. These guys are not from Florida. They are exotics, but they sure are pretty, and they whistle real nice. And that's a limpkin. Nice clear shot. I don't know what kind of camera he was using. And this is cool. Swallowtail kite, I guess he dive bombing something, getting ready to open up the Bombay doors and grab a frog. Oh, seriously, these guys, they kind of like that. And then all of a sudden, those talons come out, and they pop something. And time to eat dinner. Oh, look, he did a tree frog, which I think is great because it's probably a Cuban tree frog. Nothing against Cuba. It's a wonderful place. Been there. But Cuban tree frogs in South Florida, not a good thing. But just awesome the way they do this thing. And the swallowtail kites are known, their primary feeding habit is to sweep across the trees and pick off the snakes and the lizards and the frogs that climb up in the trees and get that morning sun to warm up. They kind of sit there all night freezing to death, and then these guys come along and pick them off anyway. So I think that's really cool. That's what they do. And then, of course, Chuck shot a picture of this biplane. And Nancy, is Nancy Farinella here? Hey, how are you? Thanks for sending them to me. And by the way, just a note, when you send me stuff, and I'm sorry about sending out emails to tell you that I wanted you to send me stuff, send them to me as attachments. And that way they drop right, they drop right in. They just drop right in. So anyway, Nancy did this, and you've got competition, young fair-haired Art, because, oh, maybe it wasn't Nancy. Did you get the sandhills across the lake?
I did, yes, yeah.
Okay. Another exotic, I love these guys, purple swamp hens. They really love to be shotgunned to death, I'm telling you. They encourage you when you go out duck hunting to shoot a couple of these guys and don't bring them back. Blackbird, do you use Lightroom?
No.
Okay, see, it shows. If you use the shadow slider, just raise the shadows a little bit, the texture would come out. Good. That's all I'm going to tell you about critiquing. But really nice. Thank you for sending those. I'm going to mess this up really bad, but it's probably this guy right here. Are you him? How do you pronounce your first name? Him. Perfect timing. Thank you for coming. So, great blue heron, sandhill crane. Sandhill cranes are about 6 inches to a foot taller than a great blue. The great blues will pluck your eye out, and these guys just peck you to death. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, and on the north corner, I counted about 300. Biologists counting because we don't count very high. So you just go, yeah, 300. There's 300 whistling ducks on the north end of the area. What kind of camera are you shooting? Okay, so when you put it up to your eye, are you like this? Because that's a little soft, but I love these pictures. I really like this one. This is a Pennsylvania smartweed. You want to know why they call it smartweed? Take a bite of it, and your lips will start to burn really bad. Call it smartweed. Anyway, that's Otocoiles. No, that's a deer. Hydropiperoides pennsylvanicum. Who knew? Is Ron here? Ron Reese? He sent me these, and I was just amazed. So he has an older camera, had it sent off, had it modified so it shoots infrared, but apparently you can insert a different kind of filter into cameras, and it's infrared, but it's not necessarily the black and white version that often we see with infrared cameras. And so you can actually see where it sees blue light, records blue light, and other things actually it turns white. And I saw this and I thought, wow, that is almost makes me want to get an infrared camera. But, oh, this was the one. I thought this was Nancy's, but across the lake there's a sandhill crane and a colt, and those are birds. Birds, yeah. What are they? I don't know what those are. Anybody know?
Probably whistlers, big birds.
Big birds, yeah.
They're probably whistlers.
You think whistling ducks? We're going to call them whistling ducks. And they could have come up with a different color. And of course, you took some with his regular camera. Colts are getting pretty big. Starting to sass back to the parents. Yes, sir.
You know why they call them whistling ducks?
Well, because they whistle.
No, because they don't know the words.
Oh. You know, we got to have one of those shows someday. Yeah. Riddle me this. Okay. And of course, another purple swamp hen. Okay, this is me shooting these guys. In the last month I've been up there 3 times, and this is my advertisement for, don't tell me ever that you've gone someplace, you shot whatever you went for, and you don't need to go there again. Chip goes to Bird Rookery Swamp like all the time, 5 days a week. Okay, I wasn't going to say that. I'm sorry I did. So, because I go up there and I go, well, today I'm going to see something different. I'm looking hard. And so anyway, I shot these guys, and I wanted to see a family group. I wanted to get reflection. So I'm shooting vertical. So if you guys don't know how to do vertical, okay. Coming across the pond, I use an R5, and I'm getting that eye focus pretty good. This is Anne Marie. Anne Marie? There you are. Okay, good. So, get out of the way. Anne Marie and I went to Africa together. Move it! So anyway, she did that. And that's actually what I was after. That's pepper grass and that little colt and these little things that stick out. Surgery later on will take care of those. And this is what I was trying to get. I was trying to, because who shoots into the sun? You got to be an idiot to do that. And so I did it. So that's it. Chip, thank you, Chip. All nice, sharp. Chip sends me these, and I wrote back to him, did you get an R5? He says, yes, I did. Every one of his eyeballs are just snappy sharp. And because well, if you shoot something that's not an R5, a Canon that's not an R5, you're always hoping for clear eyeballs. But wonderful pictures. I like this one. They're like little guys. They just jump out and scare you. So Anne Marie, I think I may be ending with you.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, thank you. The adults here, the adults just jump across, fly across, and of course the colts have to swim. I'm curious to be up there when they take their first flight across the canal. Neat behaviors. I love watching these guys. I love watching. The reason I do this is because I get to see stuff that now I want to go out and shoot. So thank you, Anne Marie. And actually, you weren't in my way. So, I just love, have you ever watched these guys? The parents grab something like a bug, and then they put it up to the chick, and the chick eats it, and then they kind of learn how, it's just great parents. I wish I did that because my kids are really skinny. So. Oh, Malin, thank you. I love these. Tricolored heron. Whistling ducks because they don't know the words. Wow. And then purple swamp hen and limpkins. I love limpkins. They eat apple snails. And there's your Pennsylvanicum, your Pennsylvania smartweed. They don't eat smartweed because it'd burn their beak. This guy, what is that? Huh. That might be a bug in its beak, do you think? And Phil Wheat, he might be my last one. Yeah, Phil's my last one. I like this. Phil's got a great handle on composition. I know this was probably a bigger picture, cropped it down here because, one, you get a sense of relative size. You got really sharp focus, and this chick is trying to stay under the protection of its parent. Another limpkin shot. And he went the other way, and I'm going to start going the other way. Go south at Harn's Marsh. This is a dark phase Everglades kite, also called a snail kite, endangered species. Really cool. And what happened?
You're at the end.
That was the end?
Yep.
Wow, I want to do that all over again.
No, you got other things to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, wait a minute, you're not done.
I'm not. Oh yeah, I have to have it. So we're having a show. No, we're not. Thank you, Jim, for doing this. Jim and Judy, Jim Robillard and his wife, have volunteered to host on May 4th a burrowing owl outing down at his place from 7:30 to 10:30 on May 4th. That's a Saturday. Everybody can go. And after 10:30 or at 10:30, they're going to also host a reception at his house. Be light hors d'oeuvres, you know, bagels and stuff like stuff you put on bagels. Anyway, a map of the best active nests with owlets will be provided via the website. So thank you, Malin, for volunteering to do that. So as we get closer to the time, you can check out these website locations. Yes, Bert?
Where do folks meet on May 4th?
It's in the notes on the website.
Okay.
You can go anywhere. If you don't get the map on the website, you can stop at the house. There probably are 3 nests now, but not, that have just look like they're going to get the chicks hatched. So it's, you know, you're a month away. So the map is not on the website until we find out where the chicks are.
And then, so
And don't get too close to them. A lot of them are close to the road. There's plenty of parking by them, but you know, give them the space.
yeah.
Get, you know, like a 1,000mm lens, don't you think will work?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah. We're shooting a 400mm lens with no problem. Depending on the kind of camera, you can certainly crop them down, but you know, they come out of the hole and they just kind of look at you, you know, like owls do. So, but yeah, it's a good reason to go to the website because you can find out all this information there. So do that.
All right, next up, DPI-SIG competition with Malin Stacy, one more time.
Guys getting tired of seeing me yet? If you are, take over the competition, then I don't have to stand up here. So, April competition is underway. Last time I looked, we had about 45 entries. Yours aren't in there yet, maybe with a few exceptions. We have color. By the way, these images are from previous competitions. If you see your own picture, shout, we'll give you a nickel. We have monochrome. Y'all knew that already, didn't you? We have creative. And we have street, which is a little different. How many of you shoot street regularly? Couple, 3, 4, 5, maybe. Yeah, no, I can only count you once. So, this is on the website as well, but elements of street, spontaneity, juxtaposition, humor, authenticity, emotions, action. I haven't corralled the judges particularly yet, but I'm going to advise them not to give a lot of weight to street portraits. That is, where you have somebody pose for you. Just a warning. Now, I've got a video for you. This is probably most of my time. This is from Rich Schreibstein, is a member of the Syracuse Photography Society, SPS he calls it. So this will give you a clue on why street photography, since there's a whole bunch of you that didn't raise your hand.
There aren't a lot of us street photographers. In SPS, there are just a handful. Yet, street photography has been around for well over 125 years, and there are as many definitions of it as there are street photographers. I define it simply as candid, unposed photos of people, and sometimes dogs, going about their daily lives. Others might consider street scenes without people as street photography. I don't, but I'm not a gatekeeper. I just prefer my photos to have people in them. I like documenting life today, and to do that, I put people in my photographs. I've certainly taken my share of other types of photography, and I enjoy seeing landscapes, still lifes, architecture, wildlife, and nearly every other type of photography, to include frozen bubbles and even abstracts, which frequently puzzle me. And I'll likely never understand Joe Petronio's oil and water productions, but I like them. While many of you may get up early to capture a sunrise or drive to a scenic location, the only thing that gets me up early is an Amtrak to New York City in anticipation of an exhausting day of walking down the avenues and streets of Midtown, Soho, Tribeca, Chinatown, and the East Village, taking hundreds of photographs, while all the time knowing I might only get a handful I like, because good street photography is hard. You don't get to set up a tripod or fiddle with your settings. You're on high alert, anticipating what someone might do next. You take the shot, and then it's gone forever. Nobody else will ever take the same photograph. You look to capture a gesture, an expression, a juxtaposition, while all the while remaining as inconspicuous as possible. When people notice you, they tend to pose, and then the photo becomes a street portrait. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I'm after. You learn to hip shoot, you learn to zone focus, and getting good at that takes practice. I shoot with a weather-resistant camera with a 35mm prime lens. The lens is fixed, and there's no option to swap it out. I carry spare batteries in my pockets and a lens cloth, that's all. I zoom with my feet. Sometimes I'll step into the street to get closer, which is why I shoot with a friend who yells at me when cars are coming, which is helpful. I recently converted hundreds of Ektachrome slides from my time in the Army. Many are over 50 years old. In fact, my earliest street photo, the first slide in this essay, which I show again, and the final slide coming up next, were taken 53 years ago in London. Then life, children, and work intervened, and the only time I took my camera out was for family events. I rekindled my love of street photography about 15 years ago after a visit from an old Army buddy and an accomplished street photographer. I haven't looked back since. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you on the street.
Hopefully that gives you a little insight for the 35 of you that didn't raise your hand that don't shoot street regularly. Thanks to Rich for that. He gave me his permission to show that tonight to y'all. Now I also want to mention, there's about 35, 40 people here tonight. We've got about 20 people online with us on YouTube Live as well. So hi to you folks. Welcome.
All right, next up, Richard Tyndall. Richard's going to talk to us about the conference.
You all dry? Well, what a change. I just don't think I like it at all. If you missed it, I'm sorry. It was a great event. We had about 220 people, a lot of really good speakers, some new places to shoot pictures, and we're starting to work on the next one. And it looks like it's probably going to be in Bradenton again, and it looks like it's going to be in about 11 months, and it should be just as great. I want to make a special thank out to our club. Of the 10 people on the committee to put the conference together, 7 of them belong to DPI-SIG. So for all of your help and the rest of you, thank you so very much. It was a great event. You missed it. I'm sorry. Come next year. You know, and the truth of the matter is it's a little far, but not as far as them coming down to here. And it's a little expensive, but not as expensive as them coming down to here. So it's kind of fair. And how many times can you take someone to the Naples Zoo? And we've been doing that for 6 or 7 years now. So come up, new places to shoot, lots of fun people, and it keeps us from being quite so solitary. Thanks a lot, everybody.
All right, Larry Richardson is going to interview Bob Kenedi. So take it away, Larry.
I need a lapel mic or something.
Yes, you do. This one? You need 2, actually.
I need 2.
This is one for the audience here.
Okay.
I'll get Tom.
Turn it on.
Thank you.
Put that in your pocket.
Okay.
Your belt.
All righty. I'm testing. 1, 2. Is this loud? Can you hear me?
There, if you just move that way a little bit.
Oh, that worked.
Yeah. Turn me up in my call.
I'll get it.
I don't think that's it.
You have a mic? You need a mic. He needs a mic.
He did. He put it here.
Yeah, but
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
With that buzzer.
Through the mic?
he needs a regular mic.
Oh, okay. All right. How about now?
Perfect.
Good.
Okay. We'll go ahead. Bob Kenedi, welcome. You know this big crowd we have here?
Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's usually for me, so not today. So Bob and I sat down one day. We talked on the phone a couple times. He sent me a bunch of images. So all that you're hearing and seeing today is out of what we discussed. I have a list of questions, and what I found out about Bob is truly amazing. And I'm just so, but you know, don't get all excited. Okay. All right. So with that, I want to go to the first image, and all these images are special. Now, Bob sent me a bunch. I put almost all of them in, and this first one is kind of a turning point for you, and I need you to explain that.
This is the first picture that I ever prepared for a competition, and it won. So that turned me around. The main reason it won, that not long before that occurred, I joined a photo club. And ever since that happened, if somebody asks me, what do I need to do to improve my photography? My answer is join a photo club. And that happened here as well. You get critique, you get information, you get company, you get competition, you win, maybe you lose. If you win, you feel good. If you lose, you want to know why so that next time you won't. And it's all learning. So that was one of the main reasons. And this one, in the club, we had a theme, and the theme was doors. I went to a corkscrew and took the picture of this gate, went home, and I saw nothing. I saw a very, very washed out picture. I started to play with it, and that's what happened. The date, 2007. So back then, this was a pretty good thing because Photoshop had very few features to do this, and everything had to be done manually. The competition was in Marco Island.
Connie Brandsilver.
Brandsilver
She and I co-wrote that book together.
was the judge, and it won first in the show.
Best in the show, yeah.
Best in the show. And that really got me interested in going on.
Yeah.
That was the change.
Just a side note, I had a client last week. We went around and shot pictures, and she hadn't been in a club for over a year, and she was telling me how much she missed it and how much she's forgotten because she's not getting that monthly renewal in that club. So food for thought. There's sort of an underlying theme in this program, different from when Diane and I had an interview, and that's Ansel Adams, and we'll get in, pretty intimate with what Ansel said, but I put this quote in here because this is one of your favorite quotes, as it is mine, that we don't make a photograph just with a camera. We bring to the act of photography all the books we've read, all the movies we've seen, the music we've heard, and the people we've loved. And you'll find that idea throughout this entire program, which makes me excited to be able to interview this because I get to hear the words and I get to see the images, and your pictures are truly inspirational. This is Clearing Skies at Sunset. We talked about this and being in a club. I guess I wanted to touch on your choice of color in black and white because we will see this differently.
Yeah, this picture you will see also following in black and white.
Raise your microphone up.
in black and white. And that's an interesting decision. Very few of the pictures were where I couldn't make a decision, which one would be more interesting. In this case, if we go back for a moment to the other one, even my first presentation to that club where I joined, actually they invited me back then to make a presentation, why Photoshop? And the answer is an important one, because the answer to that question is, I see something different than what my camera sees. And if I see something that inspired me, I want my viewer, the viewer of my photo, to feel the same thing, to see the same thing that I did. And if I do not process my picture to be reflection of what I saw, it will not happen. The camera will see something else. For example, in this case, if you could go back for a moment to the previous picture, the main reason that caught my eye was that color and that shine from the setting sun and the breaking and the breaking storm, and that caught me, and it had to be processed in the picture to have the same impression, to have the same.
So it wasn't that dramatic when you shot the picture. You had
And
to
I
make
liked it very much. On the other hand, going on to the black and white didn't have the color, but it had all the attention. Could be, you could see the birds, you could see the waves, you could see the sunset, and your attention wasn't taken away by that point. So
Well,
the two pictures
Go ahead.
represented two different things.
So it makes me wonder, did you read all this out of quotations from Ansel Adams, or did you make this stuff up on your own? Because he says that when I'm ready to make a photograph, I think I quite obviously see in my mind's eye something that is not literally there. Those clouds, the way you created them, weren't there. But in the true meaning of the word. And he says, I'm interested in something which is built up from within.
To tell the truth, this wording I first saw today when you sent me the copy. That this exact quotation for Ansel Adams, I did not see it before, but he had several quotations expressing the same.
We'll see
the
a couple
same
more
thing,
of those.
which
He has several very similar quotes. Yeah.
And when I retired from work, I got as a gift an Ansel Adams picture. And it made me interested in Ansel Adams. I started to read his writings. I started to look at the quotations. And as we go on, you will hear several of them, because they had a very strong influence in how I look at photography.
And you told me you retired in 1997, and apparently at your party or whatever, they gifted you an Ansel Adams print, which you showed me the other day. And that wasn't, you were kind of knew about Ansel Adams prior to that gift in 1997, or was that your beginning?
I really don't remember exactly well, but as far as I can recall, that was my introduction to Ansel Adams.
Yeah. Well, if you don't remember, I mean, you could always run for Congress or something like that.
No, it's my age. It's my age.
Yeah. And I was intrigued with this because, one, it's black and white. I have lightning pictures, and they're all in color except for very few. But it's such a cool a storm on the left and then the lightning on the summer lights on the right, you know, in your backyard. It's just,
There's a huge difference between the two in birth date. This picture is approximately 10, 11 years old. And this one was done during, well, 2020.
oh, okay.
Just recently.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this one is that the storm, which looks like above the home right across the lake from me, was about 10 miles or 15 miles away, and it just looks that way. But the difficulty with this image was from inside the pool cage, every panel had a different angle, and it came out at totally different brightness. This was a very, very dark panel. This was a very, very light panel. So I had to bring them to an equal level in order to see what the viewer to see what I saw, because my eyes automatically adjusted to that, which the camera does not do.
Well, we're going to see a lot more landscape images, but there's going to be a few here that are really different. So even though I know something about you that we're just going to find out, the audience is going to find out tonight. You know, I show up to the air show this last fall. You were there. There's a bunch of other images, but they're not what I would call your first love. And what are you doing here? Are you experimenting?
What I was doing here is, before the pandemic, the last air show, the jets were here, the Thunderbirds were here. And I took some pictures, and I was very, very happy to catch a jet flying. It wasn't sharp, it wasn't too good, but it was interesting experience, and I wrote an article in the magazine for it. Before I published it, I came here and I was talking to people, and they said, have you seen Phil's pictures? I said, no. So I went to Phil and saw the picture, and they were sharp, they were beautiful, and I just felt I cannot put my pictures in that article, and agreed with Phil that we jointly author the article, his pictures and my text. And at the same time, I made the decision that, yes, I want to take that sharp pictures as well. So I was challenging myself to take good, sharp pictures. And in this particular case, a pair of the images, of the airplanes. And just one comment, I consider titles an important part. And the title of this, Takes Two to Tango, is part of calling attention to the fact that we have
what's really going on,
synchronized planes here.
Well, and you just described a perfect ad for being part of a club, because you saw images that were better, and it challenged you to
That's
go
part
that way.
of it.
Yeah. Well, what about the macaw?
That's an exception. One of Ansel Adams' statements is there's nothing worse than a sharp picture with a fuzzy concept, and I didn't find much concept in this picture, but
Very
it's
sharp.
Smart. It's very sharp.
Yeah.
So,
If you're
but the other thing is my eyes. To take a picture or not to take a picture are very sensitive to contrast. I'm invited by contrast, take a picture of me. And in that particular one, the whiteness of the bird, the contrast was probably made me take that picture.
Okay.
This one is a very interesting one. Richard, who spoke a few minutes earlier, and I were together in Scotland, and we were with Alistair Ben, a very inspirational trip, a very inspirational event. And we had a lady from Montreal who was the third one, and you couldn't hear anything else from her, but when will we see the cow? And I was totally uninterested in that cow until I saw this one coming. And when this one was coming towards the fence, I went also towards the fence, and we got a little too close. And a moment after I pressed the shutter, I fell back in order to get away from her nose that shot. Actually, I had another, this is the title. I decided, take me with you, please, because it appeared to me that the cow just wanted to come out, and wherever I go, follow me.
And I think the last
By
one.
the way, just one thing, my son likes that picture, and he works from home, and he put it back behind, and unfortunately, those, so he had to take it down.
And what about the Harris Hawk?
Oh, that's you.
That's me?
That's you. The zoo here in Naples flew that bird, and you had an image very similar to this that really inspired me, and I really wanted to take a sharp picture, which was technically difficult with those cameras. It's much easier now to take, and I was successful. But what makes the picture in my eyes is these characters, how the audience got it. And yes, this has to be sharp, but it becomes the background to this.
Exactly.
These elements.
I shot the same bird, but he flew actually over my head, and his leather tresses actually brushed over my head. I thought that was cool. Glad he didn't poop.
But it was you who inspired this one.
Well,
about 10 years
this
ago.
whole club inspires me. You know, I was saying earlier, I put the slideshow together of Harn's Marsh, and I just was amazed at the stuff I'm seeing. And the next time I go to Harn's Marsh, I'm going to look for what you folks already shot, and hopefully I'll do it better. Not really.
This is street photography. Miami has a Leica store, and they run fantastic programs. And this was approximately 11 years ago. I went with them in Miami. This is a fence of construction where there is advertisement on the fence. And we just stopped on the other side of a rather wide area, and I took maybe 10 pictures. And I was really, really happy at home when I saw one where the legs were completely synchronized, including the dog. And it was that's what I liked. On this one, this picture I took on a trip to Europe in Venice, and this is the original picture. The picture that I developed from that is slightly different. The difference is that my eye was caught, my attention was caught by the glitter of this boat. And that's what stopped me to take the picture. But when I looked at the picture, I didn't like it that much. I felt that this traffic jam in the back and the characters in the boat were the topic of this picture that I really liked. So I cropped around here at this point, bringing that leading line to the edge of the image, the bottom left edge of the image, that line leading into the image. I used the crop to recompose that image, much more interested in what's happening to the picture than what I'm cutting off. I didn't like that, but the reason for cutting was to frame the subject, which came to me, the traffic here, properly. So I also wrote an article in one of the magazine articles that magazines back there, Malin and Joe Butcher did a marvelous job in accessing all their articles. If you go there, you can find them by name, by title, and that article is on cropping, which I consider the chisel of the photographer. It's not cutting. It's cutting would be editing. I don't like editing.
We're going to get, don't spoil that. We're going to get into that. We're going to continue with your street photography here.
This was another Miami trip with same, the Leica people. By the way, they give you, for use during the workshop, Leica cameras. And you can use them. And I saw that woman coming in the yellow in another street. I had to rush and I had to run. Oh.
He's bringing me some water because I'm going to cough. It's going to be loud. Thank you.
It's open, Bob.
And by the way, anybody here with a yellow coat on? Do you see? Yeah. Sally Statons. That's her.
Thanks. That's on a good day, too.
And again, a cropped picture where I cropped very close to the feet in order to bring the person to the front of the photo and make the person the main, the dominant in the image. The rest is pure luck.
Well, and yeah, there's something there's a relationship between her and the drawing or painting on the door there. I thought that was...
The relationship is that happened. She happened to walk by at the moment when I took the picture. Yeah. Nothing else.
And the Cuban cigar maker...
Cuban cigar maker, it was inside the store. He was talking about showing how he makes cigars. And I really wanted a picture how he does that. And I was just very unhappy with it. The group to whom he was demonstrating was going out. I stayed there, and I was lucky that he lit up one of his cigars, and I caught this.
Did he know you were photographing that picture?
He noticed the moment when I shot it.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of reaction in the look, but it was kind of just coincidental.
So you're seeing these street photography shots, the wildlife shots. We started off with some big landscapes, some Ansel Adams quotes, but you are also remembering Ansel Adams. And so I'm just wondering where your true love is. You know, I'm not a landscape photographer as much as I wished I was.
I happen to be, so I noticed, a landscape photographer. Most of my pictures are landscapes. Most of my pictures are water. That's not planned. That's not, it's just what catches my eyes is that kind of thing. The dynamics, the energy, the beauty in nature is what really I'm after. And that dominates me. Now, on the moon, just one, the moon is like a model. The sun is the light source. The earth is the tripod. So think in terms of frontal light. If you take the picture of full moon, and you notice that this picture, which has good details captured of the moon, is only there because of the shadows. And you don't get shadows when you have full moon. So you got to find a good compromise between full moon and with shadows.
Okay. And next, Peggy's Cove at sunset. I had a question here to ask you. Do you find yourself gravitating back to landscapes and more natural scenes, even though I love the street photography images you picked out, but then I see these and they're so dramatic.
This image, it was a very moody sunset and came out from the camera very flat. There is not a single change in what you see in the picture, but there's a huge change in the contrast and in the colors and in the sharpness versus softness in this picture that I put in order to get the mood of that sunset. And it is hugely say. My biggest problem, just a little bit here, my biggest problem was this boat. If it was sharp, it called too much attention, which is not good. If it was not sharp, it was ugly. And I had to find a compromise between the two, and it took a lot of time.
So there are two things you told me about that really define your interest, define what you go after.
That is nature and energy.
Nature and energy.
Beauty and nature of energy.
I
mean beauty. Sorry,
no, that's good.
Beauty and energy of nature.
And through all your landscapes that you gave me, maybe it was subliminal. But it's those two things. It's nature. It's energy. It's the sun. It's the sunrise. It's heat. It's moving water. It's energy. But it's this nature aspect that goes along with it.
Ansel Adams had another statement, good pictures come from where you stand. And in this particular case, it's very important where I stood. You could see the mountain, Mount Washington in the back. You can pick up the curvature, the S-curve of the rock, of the trail, of the river, and the trail again. And that gives the dynamics to the picture.
This is absolutely one of my favorite pictures. I've seen this, I saw this years ago.
Yeah.
I think when you first finished it. And for me, a great image is one that you carry away with you. I see an image like this, and I could describe the image to you, without seeing it anymore, because it's already in my brain. And there was another thing you mentioned to me and it's actually out of Ansel Adams again. The negative is the equivalent of the composer's score, and the print, the performance.
Yes, Ansel Adams was supposed to become a piano player, a concert piano player, and changed profession.
Yeah.
So his statements have a lot to do with music, and I think that's a very, very apt definition. The negative, in our case, the raw file, is the score and how it's developed to become a print in his time, a print or an electronic display in our times is photographers' privilege to make it as a performance. And the performance has two elements. A good performance gives the performer's mood, the performance character to the image or the music, and a good performance is not repeated. The next one will be maybe subtly, but always different. You put yourself in it, and that, I think, is very applicable to our photography and very desirable.
When I saw this picture, I thought, well, this is classic Ansel Adams, black and white, all the texture, and it's in this image that I assigned that Ansel Adams quote that you just paraphrased. I'll let you describe it in a second, but I'll read you the quote. He said that, so Ansel Adams in 1930 had been training to be a concert pianist. Who knew? And while considering a career as a photographer, he decided after seeing the photographs of Paul Strand that the camera, not the piano, would shape his destiny. And his mother and his aunt pleaded with him, do not give up the piano. The camera cannot express the human soul.
And to which I say, nor can the piano. It's not the piano, it's the piano player.
Yeah.
And
That's perfect.
That's the case.
So, and yeah, to me, this is classic. The only thing you probably didn't do is you didn't burn this in a dark room, and you didn't cut out little cardboard pieces to dodge and burn it where you needed to. So, but
well, we have dodge and burn in Photoshop. We have dodge and burn in Lightroom.
Yeah.
And local adjustments make the picture. You put yourself into the picture with your local adjustments. And to deviate a little bit from Ansel Adams, Henry Cartier-Bresson, who was, I would say, probably the second best photographer of the 20th century, was famous of everything done in the camera. Well, I read himself writing those words. I don't know the exact, I paraphrase it, but the photographer's last chance for creativity is in the darkroom.
Yeah.
And that's the case where in the darkroom you adjust your image to the tonality that you want. Tonality if it's black and white, and colors as well. And I think we come back to that a little later at another image.
So this next image, the Pacific sunset, and the question I had for you, we didn't discuss this, it's why do you show such an affinity to sunsets and sunrises?
I think partly I said contrast. Contrast attracts me, and dealing with contrast and solving the issues of processing, I like to do it. I enjoy processing as much as taking the pictures.
Yeah. See, what do we have next?
Oh, here, that is interesting. I took that image at, not long ago, a couple of years ago, at the Pacific. And again, I think that article, I wrote that article, I'm not 100% sure now, but this is a composite picture. This is composite of 3 pictures. I was lucky enough to capture the birds and the overall image, but not this surf and not that surf. I added those 2. And the reason I did that is to express what I saw. The dynamic nature of this, you look at this, you're there, you are seeing it for a minute or 2 or 10 before you click the shutter, you see it after. The camera only sees it for a moment. Some people like to have long exposures. I happen to enjoy seeing them, but don't enjoy making them. So instead, I like to take multiple pictures and at the same time, the same place, the same everything. So even PSA rules allow me to make the
So you blend.
combination,
Yeah.
and then I blend.
So I blend. Huh.
Yeah.
Sounds like a movie. Yeah. Sunset at Lover's Key.
This Rookery Bay competition is one of the good things here. And by the way, this image had a honorable mention. I hope during the break you look at the pictures there.
Yeah, if you got that, yeah, when we're done here, we go to break, and please look at those prints that he did.
And that one earned honorable mention by Clyde Butcher, judging that one. And this is a later picture taken explicitly a few days before the deadline. I knew exactly where I wanted to stand. I knew exactly from software where the sun will set, and I was prepared to take multiple pictures and choose the best cloud configuration. As it turned out, I took multiple pictures, but I didn't choose based on the clouds. I chose based on the wave. The only picture with that smooth wave that defined that sunset that night was this image, and that's why I chose. That's why I chose this image. This is a wonderful site. Going there by boat, I don't really think I have much to say there, except that I was lucky.
You have all these beautiful black and whites, and what you're going to see here, along with the Lover's Key sunset, is some really intense color.
That's right. Okay, and that's, thank you for reminding me. The other mention I wanted to say, dodging and burning is a local adjustment. So dodging and burning to adjust the brightness and contrast is well accepted, and everybody does it locally, because dodging and burning is you doing it in one location or another. Yeah. We tend not to do that in color. In color, we saturate or desaturate the image. Don't do it. Go to detail. Separate out the colors and adjust the brightness and the saturation color by color. Richard is holding PUG, Photoshop User Group, and he did an excellent presentation on the difference how black and white converts. And we tend to adjust the sliders without thinking about it. And at least I have not read much or heard much talk about adjusting saturation and brightness individually within color pictures. When you have color pictures, go and do individually the colors, because it does wonders to your picture. And if you don't, red converts to black and white, or brightness, very different, black and white to brightness, and the camera sees colors differently than we do. The key point was in Richard's presentation that the camera measures the brightness and our eye sees it differently. The red converts very differently from the blue, and compensate that in your picture to really make it nicer.
We only have a few minutes left, and we're coming up to some of what I would consider the most important images I've seen. Again, I love this because it's black and white, and so Ansel Adams-esque. You told me that you hate the word edit, and everybody uses the word edit, so if you use it, don't be offended because Bob hates it. He doesn't hate you. I mean, he probably doesn't. I mean, I hope you don't. But why the word edit versus what you prefer?
When I open a picture, I see what the camera did, and I have some idea what I want it to look. And I process to that difference. Bring what the camera did to the way I would like it to look, and that's not editing. That is a very, very different process, where you think about alternatives and think about what would actually express best what impressed you. And try to remember, when you take a picture, try to remember not what picture you took, but why. Remember why you liked that scene, and make sure that when you process, you don't edit, you make your viewer's mind forced to see better what you saw, and just think about that instead of cutting or.
And of course,
yeah.
to visualize an image in whole or in part is to see clearly in the mind prior to exposure. Exactly.
And it really, Ansel Adams called that pre-visualization, which intimidated me to no end for a long time, which is not that intimidating. Just think of it as, do I know what I'm going to do to that picture in order to be where to know your camera, where your camera did not give you what you wanted to do or what you saw. And if you use your camera and you learn to use your camera, you will know that this will not be the same as it comes out of my camera. So how will I process this picture? What will be my difficulty? That is the pre-visualization which Ansel Adams had, and his famous zone system is to solve that problem.
So the last 5 images, and we do have to end this shortly, are probably one of your most favorite places, and that would be Yosemite. I was in Yosemite when I was 3 years old, and I saw them push the red hot coals over Bridal Falls. You know, the trickling of burning wood, which I don't think we do that anymore. But
Now, this is a special image. This is New England. And here, my initial impression was I was drawn to this waterfall, actually a gorge within a river, which is underwater in the spring and non-existent in the dry season. But we were there just at the right time, and I wanted to get the brightness. It was pristine white, but then when I got close to it, I was overtaken by the energy, by the dynamic nature, the energy, and it was really to express the energy of the water that I spent time developing that.
how about Wildcat Falls in Yosemite?
Yosemite, go there in April because the water is beautiful. Go there with Michael Fry because Michael Fry is the Ansel Adams of the 21st century. And you will learn a lot, and you will come back with marvelous pictures.
What differentiates our picture, one picture from another picture? You mentioned 3 different things that
Oh, yeah.
you should do.
I think if you imagine yourself walking next to a wall, and all of them are pictures, and you want your picture to be a great picture. Number one, the person walking by, the attention, catch the attention. There must be something in the image to catch the attention. The second one is hold the attention. You don't want, that's interesting, go to the next one. Make the viewer stop and look into your picture. And when he does or she does, then have something that will have an emotional impact. The emotional impact is much more important than the visual impact. Visual impact is important for catching attention, maybe even for holding attention, but to memorizing, to remember the picture, it needs an emotional effect. So that was the second most important, emotional effect. And it should not give the feeling I've been there, done it. It should be something new. So the 3 things is catch attention, hold attention, memorability, and newness.
And the last image we have, sorry, not last image, tree in the sunlight in Yosemite Falls.
Go back for a moment. Just, this is from a bridge, and the bridge is not only for crossing the water, but to stop and take pictures from there. And believe it or not, the same position, I took this picture, you go to the next one now, is exactly the same location, turning 180 degrees around. And admittedly, it was not at the same moment, it's not, but exactly the same location. Wherever you are, always look all different directions.
What did I say here? A great photograph is one that fully...
I think we pretty well covered that whatever the impression I had is the expression I want to put in my image so that the viewer would have an impression as close to the same as mine was.
Yeah, I've got to go to the last.
If you are in Yosemite, Yosemite has, if I'm wrong, about 5 million visitors a year, and everybody with cameras, so you want to be different. And when I was there, what was on my mind is, what can I do different? And in this particular case, it was the puddle, the reflection of Half Dome. This is Half Dome, one of the most famous formations there, and the reflection down here. So try to find something unique and finally, I dropped my lens. It broke, and I was left with my iPhone, and probably this iPhone picture won me more ribbons than any one of my other pictures. And notice the uniqueness, the photographer there.
See him right there. But you told me something that makes this very appropriate as a final image. You said, you mentioned the word classical music.
Oh yeah, I'm a classical music lover. I love classical music, and I associate photography very, very much with the music. And when I think of my image, I kind of see the contrast as piano, pianissimo, and fortissimo, and I see these relationships. Would I like? Probably most of you knows Ravel's Bolero. Starts very smooth and ends very strong. When I saw a picture that was sharp from left to right and green from left to right and top to bottom, would I like Bolero if it was just not from pianissimo to fortissimo, if it was all the same without the contrast? No, I would not. And this kind of analogy, would I like the equivalent of this in music or not, is often in my mind. And a couple of things. One, I was very, very happy when that waterfall that I talked to you about a bit more earlier, when the second person told me that I could hear it. When the first person told me, I didn't want to believe it, but when the second person told me, I can hear the water. I thought that, yes, I processed that image to what I want it to be.
It reminds me of a quote from a friend of ours that said, edit it until it sings. Remember that, Art, David? And you edit it, okay, you process it until it sings.
Yeah.
And, well, that's it. Bob.
Well, maybe just mention, please look at these pictures. I brought them so that you can see that prints are a good step forward from electronic display.
Thank you very much.